Hey, what's up everybody? Wagey tapping in for another Court Tap. Today just wanted to kind of talk about detachment and then what my favorite season is and why. So, kind of detachment. It could be easy to attach yourself to many things, especially in terms of comfort. Food, cigarettes, drugs, alcohol. You can become attached to things. Right now I'm attached to kind of working out, but I'm also detached from it. I have a priority list, again, self-care, physical fitness, finances, or kids, finances, fun, right? Self-care, physical fitness, kids, finances, fun. If you don't have kids, just put family in there. Make it accordingly. That's what works for me anyway. So, since that's my basic kind of list of priorities, the thing that I'm attached to probably the most, but also the more that I'm coming into understanding myself, is me. The things that I've gone through, the journey that I've got to have in my life thus far, the things that I got to let go that allowed other things to pour into myself. I was attached to a cup that, was poorly formed through an adolescence based on a family structure that was also kind of poorly formed. I was attached to ideas and concepts that I was reluctant to let go of in spite of what it had the potential of offering me if I did. I was attached to a mindset that helped get me through a journey, but that wasn't conducive to where I was ultimately going to end up and continue to go. I was attached to several vices. Thankfully, I was attached enough to myself to be able to set them down should I make that decision. But the lifestyle that I was involved in, I didn't want to give it up. So I found different things that I could do to stay kind of inside that. There was a time period where I could afford to actually be in a overly sad, quote unquote, depressing state for about a 3-month period until finances ran out. And I was attached to a bunch of pain, hurt, and trauma that didn't serve me, that I didn't find a way to release so that I could grow and blossom from that. I was planted down, kind of dug deep in my mind, and then what ultimately ended up blossoming was beautiful. The tree, the plant that I get to continue to grow and branch off and provide shelter, shade, and resources. The being that I get to be at this time was from being planted and kind of nurturing these things until I finally let go of that outer shell and allowed my inner self to kind of take over, take root, and then continue to blossom and bloom, reaching higher into the sky. There was a fire in myself that I was allowing to be doused over time from various insecurities and again concepts that I was not able to let go of. Survivor's guilt, what have you, just my way of being a nurturer. And that's okay. Ultimately, a lot of these things were removed from me. And then I was so attached to them, it hurt. It was painful. I remember one time I was going through it with my mom so deep, I literally sat down in myself and found this bond. I was talking to my brother about this. I found this bond, and it was painful to try and sever and separate. Like it's a mental thing, but like I understood what that is. There's no separating that, and that's okay. Because I didn't necessarily get what I want from this person, but coming to understand the things that I went through, they might have done the best that they can for me with the tools and resources that they had at the time. but they had to do what they could to survive not only their own life and deal with, trying to be a responsible parent. So like having kids, understanding the nature of that concept, that inner work, people don't necessarily take the time to do so because there's wrongs that you would need to right and kind of correct along that journey. Taking accountability, not knowing things that I wanted to take accountability for, all of it really. I was just kind of attached to moving on. I was trained these things happen. They can be prevented, I guess, the better that you understand what conflict resolution is. A lot of the life was power and control struggle. I was attached to that. I was attached to control. It was weird. But like understanding that, because I was the one usually taking care of people. I was a parent early on, way before I was a parent. So like, I was attached to that. And again, being able to let go, being a parent now, letting go of that control, I have better connections and relationships with anybody that I would choose to interact with. Because I don't care to have control. I don't care to control the outcome. I might have influence, but ultimately people are going to make their own choices. I have no responsibility for that. That's another interesting too. Can you really have love without responsibility? What is love without responsibility? And then situational like and conditional like, why can't you really say what that is? People want to get, I think it's wants met. You might need attention, affection, care. If you really come to understand those things, this is something that it took me a while to figure out because I had voids. Figuring out how to give yourself attention, give yourself care, give yourself love. Again, self-care, physical fitness. Self-care, physical fitness, kids, family fun, or kids, finances, fun, right? So pouring into yourself, giving yourself that. Well, I'm responsible for me, so I know how to love me. If you're responsible for you, you know how to love you. I'm usually responsible for a family. So like I know how to do that. Especially again, now coming into this complete grounded aspect in myself and continuing to grow in this capacity. The connections keep getting stronger, but it's not focused on attachment. Because it's all free. There's no chains, there's no bars, there's no hostage situations. You don't have to be here. You can get to be here. And I want you to be here if you want to be here. But I'm not attached to it. Again, allowing myself to be sad. If you feel that you need to leave, hey, it might have a little bit of a sting, but that's fine. You're free to make your own choices. I'm going to continue to move on. I'm going to continue to push forward because I know where I'm going. I got here instinctually. Now I know where I'm headed with the utmost confidence. It gets to be an enjoyable ride and experience. I'm just waiting around to meet one last friend, really. And like I get to spend my time doing things that I enjoy free of attachment. Pick this up, put that down. Set that down, pick this up. I'm pretty consistent though. And like I've always been that kind of consistent person, so like I enjoy that. Again, changing the way you think will they say that it alters the way that your brain's gonna function. So it's gonna either create or find new neural pathways that are gonna allow you to expand and enlighten, really. And then I'm choosing to take full advantage of it. So that's my concept, that's my theory. That's how detachment has kind of helped me. And then, so here's something that I love. I don't know what your favorite season is. You can feel free to drop it in the comments or whatever, what your favorite season is. Is it summer? Do you like the nice sunshiny weather? Is it spring? Do you like to experience the showers and the kind of coolness and the fresh growth? Is it fall? The kind of changing of the colors and the cooling off from the summer effect? Or is it winter? The cold harshness and bitterness of reality. For me, my favorite season has always been winter. I love going through the winters. I enjoy them. For me, winter is a reminder that life is still harsh and it's predicated on surviving. Summer's fun. The thing that gets weird about summer though is like, you can't really get through summer without like trees and plants and stuff. So like you gotta seek shade and shelter. And if you're a fan of fall, again, you're watching all the foliage change colors and that's interesting. And then spring, it's all the new budding. Winter, everything dies, allegedly, or at least goes into a deep hibernation. If you make poor choices, winter can cost you your life, for sure. Winters are very important. You have to be keen, you have to be sharp, you have to be aware, you have to be resourceful should anything go awry. Summer, all the other seasons, you can kind of adjust accordingly with clothes. Winter, power goes out, below freezing temperatures. Man, hopefully you have enough blankets and the insight to kind of settle in, huddle around and get through that tough time. So for me, I've always loved winter. I've lived in a lot of Midwest, so like winters have always been kind of harsh. And I appreciate that aspect because it's just a reminder. I grew up in a time, I was a country kid. I grew up raising horses. You've heard me mention this before. I grew up surviving. I was one of the last generations that was taught to really survive. The new generations don't really understand that kind of concept. And then the ones before us, we're going to be losing most of them soon. So things might get crazy, but that's just a little insight touching to me, kind of where I'm headed in my general direction. Remember, all this is wagey stuff. I was a wagey kid, I just happened to plan accordingly. Work hard, have that solid work ethic. Be down to go through winters. Be confident experiencing winters, knowing that you can get through that. Because it's gonna pass. You just gotta hunker down and push through. And on that note, Wages out.